Okay, we're continuing on in Access, Chapter 1 Training, Skill 111, and we are going to import some data from an Excel spreadsheet. The Access programs will speak with the other Office programs. It's kind of nice because now, say that you've already created a bunch of information in an Excel spreadsheet, and now you've decided that, hey, there's a lot here, it is going to be better if I have this in Access. You can just bring the information over from the Excel spreadsheet into an Access table. Don't have to retype all that information. So we're going to come up here and we're going to go to External Data, and we want to get the information from an Excel. So we're going to go Import. We want to import information from Excel. Our source of our data, we're going to have to click here on Browse. And we want it to come from the A01A_faculty. So we're going to click Open. Now we can import the source data into a new table, so we can create a brand new table in a database. We can append a copy of the records. That means that maybe your receptionist always puts information in this Excel spreadsheet. Well, you only want to add the information that she's added since she last imported it, so there you would be appending. Or you can link it, so you can actually set it to where when the receptionist enters the information into Access, it automatically updates, or enters the information into Excel, it automatically updates into Access. So we want to import the data as a table, so we want it into a new table, so we're going to say OK. And our first row of our data does contain headings, our column headings, so we're going to say yes, it contains column headings. Say Next. We want duplicates to not be OK, and it's automatically set to where yes, duplicates are OK. We want to change that to yes, we want it to be indexed, but we don't want any duplicates, so we're going to say Next. And then it's going to say, okay, what about your primary key? What do you want for your primary key? Do you want Access to be your primary key, or do you want to choose your own primary key? Now, it already tells us in our instructions that it wants us to set the primary key as faculty ID. So we're going to say Next. And we want the table to be named 1A faculty. So 1A faculty. And I'm going to say Finish. It says, do you want to save these steps? If this is something that you do a lot, you can save the steps, but they're not, it's not, so we're going to say Close. And now our information, you can see from our Excel spreadsheet, is now in our Access database. Now, we can't see all of our address field here, so we want to automatically fit the data in our column so that we can see all of it. So to do that, one way is to just take our mouse, and in between address and city, you can see how it changes. It becomes the line with the double-headed arrow, so you can get that right on the border between the address and city fields, and double-click, and it automatically fits your column width to the longest entry. Now if we want to print our table, see over here we have two tables now. We have our 1A students that we started with and our 1A faculty table. We want to print the student table. It's the one we have open here, so we're going to go to File and Print. You can see this is a little different than our other. We have our option to go ahead and click Print. We can automatically send our object that we have open to the printer. We can select, so maybe if we want like 2 copies, we can select Print and go in and get more details. Or you can do a print preview. Now we just want to do a quick print, so we're just going to click on the quick print and then it's OK. Now, query is a question. So when you're doing a query on your database, you're basically just asking it a question. So we want to ask it a question. We want to just use a simple query wizard to begin a query based on the 1A students table. So we're going to come up here to Create. And we can create templates, tables, queries, forms, reports, or macros. Well, we're going to do query, and we're going to just use the query wizard. We're just going to do a simple query wizard. There's 4 different types here. Crosstab, find duplicates, or find unmatched. We just want to do a simple query. And say OK. we want to make sure that we're in the 1A students table, and here are all the fields. Now you'll notice here with this drop down arrow you can actually name our query off of either table. You can even do a query off of a query if you need to. Sometimes it's a little faster if you do a query off of a query. But we want to create one. Here's all of our fields that are available. We want the last name, so then we're going to come over here to the center and click on this little chicken scratch and move last name over, move first name over, move address, city, state, region, and zip postal code. It's important that they're in this order because this is how Access will show you the results of your query. You think about like a phone book. If you have a phone book and it's done by last name, you're always going to get the last name and then the first name. So if you're looking for Benjamin Rogers, you're going to have to go to the R section because you're looking for Rogers, and so then you go to Rogers and you can go find Benjamin. But what if it was done by the first name first? You would need to go to the B's so you could find Benjamin and then find Rogers. So it does make a difference what the order is when you're selecting these. So we've got our order here, and we're going to click Next. And it says, what do you want to name it? Well, we want to name it 1A All Students Query. And we're going to finish. And then real briefly, we're going to see the results of our query. And over here in our navigation pane, you can see now we have two tables and a query. It automatically saved that query over there for us, so if we wanted to see it again, we could just click on the query and we could see our all students query. Now we want to create a form. A lot of people aren't comfortable entering information here in a table all the way across. They like a form. It's real simple to create a form. We want to base it on the 1A student table. So we're going to make sure our 1A student tab is open. We're going to come up here to Form. We're on the Create tab here, on Form. And there's our form. And so we've got all of our fields. It's just a basic form, so now somebody can just enter the student ID, hit Tab, go down to last name, hit Tab, go down to first name, and so forth and so on. Now right now we're in what's called the layout view, so this is where we can change how the form is designed, how it looks. Well, let's go ahead and look at the form in Form View. So we're going to click up here on the Design tab and click Form View. And this is how it would actually appear to somebody who is actually entering in information. So our receptionist, like the student, can come in and they can say, okay, what's your ID, what's your last name, first name, and they can enter the information here just by going into this form. And it still lets us know that we're on record 1 of 26. So if we were to enter a new form, then we would have 27 forms. Now we want to go ahead and save this form. So we're going to come up here to the Save. And it just wants us to use a default name, 1A Students. So we're going to say OK. So we've done queries and we've done a form, and how about a report? A report is what makes Access stand out a little from Excel. It's just a lot easier to do reports in Access based on your information. You can do reports based on tables. You can do a report based on a query. What we're going to do is we're going to come up here to the Create tab, and on the Create tab, clear over here to the right, it says Reports. Here's our report area. We can report, if there's a report design, if we want to get particular about what we want it to be, a blank report. Here's a report wizard, and then we've got labels, so if we want to do customer labels like mailing labels, you can just do those really quickly here. Now we want to create a simple report based on the 1A faculty table that will open in Layout View. So we're going to come up here to Report, and there is our simple report. So we now have report layout tools. This report shows all of the fields in our table, and this little line right here means that's where the edge of our page would be. So this would be page 1, then we would have page 2. We don't want our faculty ID or rank fields, so we can just bring our mouse over here and click in it, and then if we right click, we can choose Delete Column, and we're going to do the same thing to rank. I'm just going to click on it, then right click and Delete Column. So now you can see we're down, we just have all the information on one page now, which is what you want when you do a report. You want to make sure it is all on one page wide. Now we want to do a print preview of the report. So we're going to come up here to the File, Print, and this time we want Print Preview. So we're in Print Preview. This is how it would look. And we still don't like this. We want to go ahead and change our column width to 8 inches. So to do that, we're going to come up here to Columns. We're on our Print Preview tab here. We're going to come up here to Columns, and we're going to change the width of our column to 8 inches. So we're just going to change that to 8, and then click OK. And we have created our report. And you can see over here now we have 2 tables, 1 query, 1 form, and 1 report, all in our 1A contacts database. Now if we want to close our database, we come over here to File, and then right here is Close Database, and that just closes that particular database. We're still in Access, we haven't closed Access. If we want to go ahead and exit out of Access completely, we can come down here to the Exit button, and we have exited Access completely. And that is Access Chapter 1 training.